tēnā rawa hoki tātou. Tātou mā, kua huri ake mai ki roto ki ngā kōrero. E tāi ana no hoki ki te ruku atu ki roto ki ngā kōrero a Hawaikirangi, ki roto ki tēnei rā. Tēnei o ngā pare ārau, te ngahuru mātahi o te marama rua, rua mano, rua ngahuru mātahi. Nau mai haere, piki mai, kake mai, hara mai rā, nau mai, hara mai, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia inoi tātou tuatahi, ne? Kia inoi rā, mātau i a koe i oho, kaha whakārahirahi, kaha tautiaki, kaha tau manaaki atu i a mātau, i roto i ngā kōrero, i roto i ngā mea hai mea ki roto ki tēnei wahanga i te hōtaka i a Hawaikirangi, te atua matua kahara wai. Te Iawe atua mea na mai i ngā tautiakitanga katoa kia atu ai ki runga ki a mātau, kia tonu anō ai ki runga ki o mātau whānau hakoa kei whārātau. Me o mātau ngā uri, a mātau me ngā uri o roto i a rātau mātau puta ke ai. Ki ngā tūāhuatanga ki te pēne ki a tahu, kia whakamoe mititia. No te mea kai te kahari o toi i nei rā. Hoi anō a Carol Raiwa ko Matt, kare anō i tai ake ai ki te hara mai. Hoi anō, kai te pai, he wānō, ka hara mai. Kia whakamoe mititia tonitia i rā tūāhuatanga. Me tō mātau kaha ki Hawaikirangi, me te pūtea moni tau toko i a Tūtahu Trust Tahu Investments Limited mā. E nei tūāhuatanga katoa, tai atu anō hoki ki a rātau i ngā kaiwhakarongo, pauwhakarongo, pau mā takitaki. Te ingoa te iehua. Āmene, e tātou mā kia atu anō tātou ki tērā o ngā kaupapa, ngā wahine i roto i te pōro ki Ingimangu. Kareke pēr tātou mātau e huri atu ai, ruku honu atu ai ki etahi o ngā kōrero e rā, pērā i e rā i ruku atu ai i roto i tērā wiki. Hoi anō, he kōrero nunui tonu. No te mea ko te taha ki te wahine tonu e kōrero ti ana nei. I te mea nā hoki ko te reo, ko te pōro ki Ingimangu e kōrero hi ana nei, me tā te taha ki te wahine e pure i hia, e whakatangitangi hia atu ana tēnei pōro me te āhua o tērā ki roto ki te motu, ne? Nā, i tēnei o ngā motu nei, e tikanga, e āhuatanga, o roto i tērā taha ki te wahine āhua rereke. Nā reira, e nunui tonuke e rā tū āhua kōrero, ki o te ki ngā āhuatanga hai kōrero, ki o te ki a tātou mātau i roto i Hawaikirangi, i roto i nei rā. No reira, nau mai haere. We're going to go straight into the thematic kōrero of the Queens of Reggae. That's one of our themes we're carrying right up to the end of March. And we have for you today some more kōrero on the importance of te taha ki te wahine. We talked about a lot of the spiritual stuff connected with all of that. Today, we'll talk about a lot more of the, let's say, the customary practices around te taha ki te wahine. And it's important too, I was just saying there, that for women in New Zealand, because we're talking about New Zealand reggae, for women in New Zealand, it's good to be aware. It doesn't matter which culture you actually come from, but it's good to be aware of the traditional influences and kōrero around traditional and customary ways that women were organised around anything. So, but we'll try and keep away for a bit more from the spiritual. But that sort of spiritual stuff, believe me, a basis like that, understanding the basis of the spirituality, and we'll probably, no doubt, we'll actually end up going into a wee bit of that today, but I don't want to go into too much because it was quite in depth last week. I didn't play, well, I did have some stuff written down, but I didn't plan to go that deep into stuff. They were just things that I was holding on to at that time, at that moment, because I'd been discussing a lot of those topics as well with lots of our whanaunga across the motu. That's what a lot of our senior groups do. We talk across the motu on a lot of the big kaupapa, a lot of the big topics in the fashion, in the kōrero at the moment. And Io Te Matua Te Kore is featuring pretty big at the moment. Everyone's getting into it, and but a lot of people are not thinking about what that domain fully consists of. If you go into something, are you going to go into it the whole hog? All those sorts of questions need to be answered. We're lucky in Tahumākaka Nui Matua because all of those types of things we've already dealt with. If they come up again for us, then we'll deal with them again and again and again. But those sorts of cultural priorities are huge, and you have to have those types of kōrero, and you have to take it through your people, and they have to be on current topical issues and matters concerning the people, especially within a trust like Tūtahu Trust, Tahu Investments Limited. We have so much more of a priority to discuss matters like that. Matters around women, best that the women come in. I was actually going to try to see. I could have had a couple of women come in today. Let's see if I can get them for next week, and we'll talk about the women's side. I mean, I know we're only talking about reggae music, but there's a real in-depth spiritual side of this, and reggae music traditionally has always been led by the men. I wonder if that's going to change. And there's nothing wrong with changing that. And it's funny because women have always been some of the in more ancient times, some of the forerunners in the spiritual movements of cultures, and where reggae music come from, out of the African Nubian Hebrews and the Rasta culture in its heyday, from the early 20s, 30s, even earlier than that, 1920s and 1930s, and even earlier than that. The Rasta culture, women led in a lot of that area. So why is it not right for them to lead in reggae music? I don't see any problem with it. But let's get on to one of the funny thing that I should mention that, but I'll talk about that after this waiata. We're going to hear from Judy Mowat again, and one of her waiata, King of Kings, and we'll get a good dose of her spiritual beliefs. And she, even though she ended up turning Christian a lot later in her Rasta life, there is still those rootical songs that she wrote in the early times of her recording in the world of reggae music. So yeah, let's get a dose of that. But wow, isn't it great that even in Māori culture, women led in spiritual and the physical and the material world. Women were great leaders. Lots of cultures are not used to that. In Africa, it's very rare. I think in European culture, it's very, very rare for a long, long time. In our culture, I know in Tahumaka ka nui matua, e tātou mā, it's no problem. I think we had this issue come up not so long ago of women speaking on the marae. Let's touch on those after this waiata. This is Judy Mowat and King of Kings e tātou mā, kai te haere ake ni ki a tātou. I roto I te wānei, aroha mai rā hoki e tātou mā, kai te rīti a hau. Kai te rīti a hau. Karakau a hau I mātau atu ai ki te wā. Karakau a hau I mātau atu ai ki te wā. I pēnā hau ko te hauwhā ke mai I te toru āhua pēra, engari karakau au I ki te atu ai tētahi o ngā matawa. I never got to look at a clock anywhere, but I actually thought it was about 3:15, so I rushed in. Just like last week, I was panicking to get here, but I found that I was quite early. And I did the same thing today, but I actually thought it was 3:15, because last time just before then, when I did look at the clock, it was about 3:05, so I guessed, and I ended up talking with a couple of people, and then I thought, it's about 3:15, so I took off from there and came here, but then I found when I got here, actually, I was late, but kai te pai. Better late than never, and here's Judy Mowat with King of Kings. Kia ora mai rā tātai. Ka huri. rana ki a tātou, kai te whā o ngā haora ki tēnei ahi ki tēnei o ngā pareanga ki a tātou. Ai, nau mai haere tātou kua huri ake mai. Ki roto ki ngā kōrero i a Hawaikirangi. Tātou mā kai te whai tonu anō ki tēnei puoro, hei puoro matua ki a tātou, ne? Kua pēnā tēnei puoro i roto i te whāngahuru mā ono mā whitu tau kia hau. Kai te pai? Yeah, so, yeah, this is a good show for people like us, but also for, you know, iwi. I mean, we call that uretare wahapu, but iwi, I mean, you know, this show is good for stuff like that because we're always going to touch on topics based around there. Even though it's about reggae music, it's about New Zealand reggae, it's about the band Tahu and the reggae it's going to produce, and also about, like today, te taha ki te wahine i roto i te puoro te kiingi mangu. Okay, so women, queens, wahine toa in reggae music, and so, oh wow, you know, we've had a few of those issues come up of late, like at Waitangi, you had the Pirimia, and you had te rā e aro nui ai rā ki aia, you know, the opposition, and so we I took up her comments just the other day. I was discussing that with a group of people, and they asked me what I thought, and I said I thought it wasn't a sexist move by the people up there not to have her speak, but just the ruling they may have made, you know. They may have just made that ruling on the spot that the speakers on the day, they may have even thought that two wahine kōrero might have been too many, you know. So I don't know, but I know on Tahumā ka nui matua marae, where women can speak, where women are orators, right through Tahumā ka nui matua, from Te Rerenga Wairua right up in the north there, top of the north, right to the bottom of the south, all our marae. There's no difference to us. Wahine can speak, and it's mainly at a time when the major orators or orators for particular hui, or for special occasions like that one up at Waitangi, wahine are able to take the positions of oratory on the marae. Really cool, eh? Really cool, eh? There we've got such a diverse culture. Some tribes don't allow that, of course, at all still. But in Tahumā ka nui matua, we always have. It's always been that way. I think that another tribal group like that is the Poraurangi, Ngāti Porou. Their women have always spoken like that. I think the Waitaha rangi, the people that Kahungunu came from, they also do. They do the same thing. So, yeah, and on our marae, in particular, if we had two women of you know, formidable wahine toa, like Judith and like the Pirimia, we would actually let both of them speak regardless. Yeah, it's funny how they let one speak, but yeah, I guess it was that. And I also said, but it could have been taken as bias. You know, they were pretty gutsy to make that ruling and not let Judith speak, and just let the Pirimia speak, but it did look biased, you know. Because 1 minute they were saying, yeah, the wahine toa can speak, but yeah, only the Labour Party leader, or the Pirimia can speak. So yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting, but it's definitely not a sexist. That's not what we thought. That was part of our discussions of late around the particular area of wahine speaking on the marae. Yeah, we always have had that. We always have enjoyed that, and yeah, wahine just as diverse in roles as the tane in our traditional culture, in our traditional way. We just have tribes with different ways. That's all. It's very diverse, and some they don't allow that, and some they do. Certain times wahine cannot. Blah blah blah. The list goes on as to reasons why we have all those sorts of differences, and etc. etc. Otherwise, in Tahumā ka nui matu, and I believe there are other tribes that do the same. Kai te pai tēnā ki te tū atu te wahine kōrero ai, ki runga ki te marae. Ki runga rā nei, kai te tū atu ana I Waitangi, ki roto ki te mahai. Ki te mahai tū ai, te wahine, te pirimia I roto Waitangi. So, you had that going on there within the mahai, which is a standard practice as well. Very rarely do you get the wahine on the actual marae, on the actual courtyard. Very rarely do you get that. So it was safe for Judith to speak as well. It was funny. It's quite funny because that could be taken in several different ways. The home people could have been a little bit biased, because they had a Labour leader and a National leader, and they might have just wanted to hear the Labour leader. The other thing there is that they just might have wanted. They just might have, just decided it that way, and that there was no other reason except they just wanted one wahine kōrero, and may have thought that two was too many. There's lots of different reasons for that, but it's quite funny. It can even be perceived the way that ended up, that situation. It could even have been perceived in a traditional point of view as cheeky. It could have been perceived as cheeky. However, we can only contemplate. The home people stated what they wanted, and that's how things went. So I guess we would never know unless they did speak up and give reasoning as to their ruling, or what the reasons were behind the ruling, or whether the actual, whether there was a bias. We'll never know unless they speak up and go public on it. So interesting kaupapa that, funny. You'd never find any woman stopped from playing reggae music. But it's funny, it seems to be a cultural thing within the reggae world. Women are not as forthcoming, They're not as... not many women step into the leadership role in terms of reggae music. Not many. There's not many. So, it's interesting. And something really that we should talk about a lot more in terms that, you know, I mean, you look at the Ngāia. The Ngāia are a big part of the Rasta movement, and the Rasta spiritual movement, the spiritualist movement of the Rasta, is one that the Ngāia was they're actually warriors, women warriors of Africa, and they were a strong force, and still are a strong force in the Rasta movement. And it's funny that you still get the trickle, the trickle of the wahine coming into leadership positions in reggae music, and them leaving it mostly to the males to lead in the music. Quite a different, that's not a scenario you would expect where especially in the spiritual, just like in our culture, women had strong roles, powerful roles. In fact, some of the women in our culture are some of the most powerful in the spiritual sense. Some of the women today have been some of the most powerful in the spiritual in our culture. I can think of a number of examples. Very much a number of examples, many a number. But I'm just looking at some of the work of Marcia Griffiths. If there was any of the queens that, well, actually they don't really differ that much to me, except that on different occasions you can like one opposed to another of the queens of reggae music. Yeah, they just sort of, I guess they play into different shades and different colours of life, I guess. And so sometimes you're like one as opposed to the other. But yeah, Marcia Griffiths, I'm just tapping into one of her well-known songs right now called Dreamland, and it was one of the biggest hits in the 70s. In the 80s. And there's a waiata, I believe, that came out of the 60s and 70s. But I forget the original composer. Now, she remixed it and did a pretty good job of it. So let's get a listen to that today. But yeah, te wahine ki te taha te poro ki ingi mangu. All of the artistry in the music, all of the major foundational and basic principles of reggae, the core principles of reggae music, they use them all. If you've been listening to the wahine, the all of the queens that we've been playing, they definitely use them all. Get a good listen to them, like Desiree last week, and the others. Like also we've listened to Coffee and all those wahine toa queenie that play the music very, very well. So let's get another dose of Marcia Griffiths, and there are many, many more. I've got Jazz Elise coming up soon, so we'll have a look at some of her music as well. Very, very good, Jazz Elise. And she's another new one just come into the world of reggae music, and has already proven herself worthy in the world of reggae music, and has made her footing already, and she's only just come in. So here we go, Marcia Griffiths and Dreamland.
There's a land that I have heard about so far across the sea. There's a land that I have heard about so far across the sea. To have you on my dreamland would be like heaven to me. To have you on my dreamland would be like heaven to me. We live together on that dreamland and we'll have so much fun. We live together on that dreamland and we'll have so much fun. We'll get our breakfast from the trees. We'll get our honey from the bees. We'll take a ride on the waterfall. We'll count the stars in the sky. And surely we'll never die. And surely we'll never die. And surely we'll never die. Oh, what a time that will be. Oh, just to wait and see. And surely we'll never die. And surely
Nice.
Want to watch big shows on your smart TV? Turn it on.
Tino pai tira. Nice. Sorry about that. We went into the advert there. But kai te ngahuru mā waru meniti mai te whā, we are rocking along quite nicely. And yeah, that was Marcia Griffiths, one of the yeah, you can't really say that the artistry of one as opposed to the other is better. The I3s are exceptionally good at playing reggae. Yeah, the I3, each one of them are exceptionally good. Yeah, but they call Rita. I mean, she was Bob's wife. They called Rita she was the first one to ever be called the Queen of Reggae music. And then the other two got so good they started calling them the same thing. But yeah, it's so interesting how I think it's more to do with the African culture and African cultures like that, and more about where males tend to lead more or tend to take action where it's needed. What do you call that? Assertive action in a certain area, and they tend to it tends to need leadership from the front. The male would always go into that first. So it'd be interesting to see in the future whether women start to take over in reggae music. But I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it'd be interesting if it does. And what about New Zealand reggae music, I mean, most of the bands out there, it's almost about 99% are male-driven bands, reggae bands. So, and look at the standards, it's not that great. But you know what? Women could change that in New Zealand. What if that happens? I mean, we've got Coral in our band. She's one of the assistant people in our band in Tahu, and she's part of the assistant band. There's an assistant band and Tahu the band. And hey, we've got practice next week too, so I'm going to see Coral and Matt, and I'll see if they want to come in. Oh, yeah, I mean, Coral will do. And we can talk te taha ki te wahine, we can get some of her thoughts on the issue. And also, there's another couple of wahine I could have brought in today, but they were unable to get in today. I'll see if they can get in, not next week, the week after. And we've got practice together next Tuesday night, so I'm going to try and get some snippets of us too at the practices, so you can see what we're like and see what we're doing and see how we're going, and just so that you can judge things for yourself. Not perhaps for not perhaps for this particular set that we're doing. But maybe I'll do some for maybe some songs for another set for a gig or something like that. We did get asked to play one gig at a festival. Now I am going to take that up if we're going to get the time to be able to. But should we not get the time, then of course we won't be able to play it. But yeah, in the not too distant future, you're going to hear Tahu play in the studio, do a 5-song set in the studio for us, and give us a bit of kōrero about themselves, those members that are here on that day. And there should be about 6 of us, 6 or 7. It should be a good day's jam. So be here on the 4th of March. That's when that is. That's when we're playing. Hopefully I can get Coral and Matt to finally come in next week, because we'll be at practice on Tuesday night. I'll drop the hints to them there and drag them on in, even if I have to drag them by their car keys or something like that, because if it's their car keys, then they can't do without the car, so they have to come with me. Now, it's really important to talk to Coral and Matt. They're doing really well in reggae music at the moment. From what I can see, they're very, very well on the way to being able to understand, get a greater feel for music, different from when we started. When we started, it was a bit, it was a little bit rocky, because they didn't have that understanding. I'm like trying to take all these shortcuts and find ways of meeting the different needs of new people in the band, and new people to reggae music, and they're too new people to reggae music. But at the moment, I mean, they probably don't think so. They probably don't think they're that good, and this is why they're taking their time coming in. But I think they're a lot better than they think, and that's why I want them to come in, and that's why they're doing so well. And I think what they're learning and the way we're doing the reggae and how we're organising things is really rubbing off well on them. It's influencing them really well. So they're playing some good reggae, singing some good reggae, doing some good reggae. And there's still a lot of development which they can probably already see, and I can already see, but that doesn't matter, because if you're already playing good in such a short time, why not bring that to the fore and highlight it for the Hawaikirangi audiences. There's a lot out there. And we have, lots of different people I get to talk to about the show, and lots of people that see us on Whakaata Wairarapa enjoy the show and love it, and actually keep going back. Keep going back. I think because it has that Wairarapa flavour, and we just, we're quite a down to earth sort of people in Wairarapa, and everyone sort of knows each other, and quite a small place. So, okay, coming up we've got Jazz Elise e Tatauma. Kai te rua ngahuru mārima meniti mai I te whā. Rua ngahuru mā ono meniti I nā ia nei. It's now 4:26 and not 4:25. And we've got Jazz Elise with Rock and Groove Rhythm. Rock and Groove Rhythm coming at ya. Haere ake nei kia tatau I roto I te wā tonu nei. Ahuri.
Yeah. Jazz Elise. It's gonna be a good day. We're rocking from Sunday to Sunday. Don't know miss how we move, but just how I can move. Don't make we rock and groove. Don't know miss how we move, but just how I can go true. Don't make we rock and groove. Them say, oh, yes, I show off. Oh, yes, I hype. Do you have little happiness in all your life? No, you used to suffer in a day, whole night. Oh, someone must suffer for the rest of my life. Show up, make sure you grow up. Live a good life, that's if you keep up. I'm good some days, I'ma lay back. Me see the trouble, me I leave that. In my shoes, I'm a tank top. Yeah, in my jeans, I cut off from her foot. In my shoes, with some bright color socks. Time out, but me not go wear no flip flops. Cause none now miss how we move. Me just how I kinda move. Don't make we rock and roll. None now miss how we move. Me just how I can go through. Come make we rock and groove. Scrolling through my timeline, yeah. See a picture that I like, so I press double tap. That's quite fine to me. Sitting under the sunlight, listening to music that I like. It's gonna be a good day. Yeah, it's gonna be a good day. Because I live my life. Me, I watch me eating on my side. I'll fit take care of me and mine. Don't have no time for no cross-cast vibe. No, it's how we move. But just how I gotta move. Gonna make we rock and roll. Boy, no, it's how we move. But just how I can go through. Gonna make we rock and groove. I see things out of road and I can't stand it. Some can't find happiness, that is so tragic. But don't bring your brother down, that's a bad habit. Leave your sister in a peace, please stop it. Trust me, try your best, but you're not getting on my head. Me just a ease and all I miss. Yeah, me just a all I miss. But just a live my life. Me I watch we in on my side. I fit take care of me and mine. Don't have no time for no gas vibe. No, it's how we move. But just how I gotta move. Come make we rock and roll. Oh, no, it's how we move. But just how I can go through. Come make we rock and groove. Yeah. It's how we grooving. Oh, we're grooving, no, never losing.
mai rā hoki Jazz Elise, I konana Jazz Elise there me te waiata o nā I rock and groove rhythm. Tino pai. You know, even that waiata, you know, and you look at some of the waiata we've listened to, I hate to pick some of their music apart, but it's just all top stuff. You know, have a good listen, e tātou mā. Ki te taha ki te wahine I roto I te pōro ki ngi mangu. Even in New Zealand, I think, probably one of the major New Zealand reggae artists, wahine, and probably the best in the country today is probably, well, you've got, what's her name? She just moved into the reggae scene. She was doing more R&B music, but she's just moved into the world of reggae music as of late. Tērā wahine mai I tauranga. Gee, you know what? I can't. I'm like that sometimes. I get out. Sometimes I wonder whether it's because I'm in the studio. You know, I just suddenly forget something. You know, like you know, and I've been thinking about it. You know, because I write down notes. So I already have in my mind what I'm gonna talk about and things that I want to present on the day. I already have that sorted. But all of a sudden, I forget it. You know, something like the name of tērā wahine mai I roto tauranga. Yeah, she, wow, I can't think of her name at the moment. Let's see if I can remember later on. There's her, but probably the best in reggae music today of the wahine is Magic. There's Magic, no, I've forgotten her second name. I should write down these things, but I don't. I just write down the notes that I feel I need to guide me. So little things like that, like names, I expect myself to remember every time. And but coming up next, we've got tētahi kuini ko tāna ingoa nā ko te Naomi Cowan, tēnei wahine, also quite new in the reggae music world, but she is doing very, very well as well. You know, Naomi Cowan, Paradise Plum, something different about that waiata. So let's get a bit of a look at it. Yeah. Sounds pretty cool. And te taha ki te wahine, we don't focus on that enough. We feel in tahu that it's not focused on enough in New Zealand reggae music. I mean, you look at it, 99% males. Terrible. Let's see if we can get 50-50 by next year. Wouldn't it be cool? Because the women share a brand of reggae. You know, they've got a style of reggae all of their own. And what I like about women is they tend to go roots. I love roots reggae. Roots reggae is very cultured, very, very culture style reggae, very deep Scotch bass, very, just has all the beautiful elements of reggae so well blended in, and that's what the wahine toa, ngā kuini, I roto I te ao ki te pōro ki ngi mangu. E kawe atu ana, I roto I te ao ki te pōrona, me ngā huatanga katoa ki te taha ki te wairua, kairoto. Ai, kairoto rawa, katoa I te puoro ki ne wahine. E tātou mā, kai te ruangahuru maono meneti ki te rima. E haere tonu ana nei tātou. Ki roto ki te taha ki te wahine, ki te āhua ruku atu I tahi o ngā atu āhuatanga ki a rātau I roto I te puoro. You know what? The women are very strong in the spiritual. I've already mentioned that. They're also very strong in the reo huātai. Reo huātai a te wahine he rōreka. E manuti ori I roto I tērā taha. E reo anō I roto I te taha ki te wahine. Ki te reo waiata, te reo whakarahi I roto I te pēne. E ahua rereke. Tā te wahine anō tāna. Tā te wahine anō tāna. You know, the women sort of have their own way. You know, and it's a little bit, maybe it's something that Coral could talk to us about next week. We'll see what she says about the women's voice in reggae music. It's highly different. It differs highly to the men's voice. Men tend to go really auraki, you know, really waily. Women wail naturally, but yeah, that's another part of women's reggae. You know, they wail naturally, and they have a gift for roots, cultured reggae. Beautiful, eh? Beautiful. And they're great, just like Jazz Elise showed there. They're great in dancehall reggae. That's, you know, I've already showed you some clips of Coffee. But let's have a look at tātou mā. Naomi. Haere ake nei kia tātou. Ki te wātonu nei. Kahuri.
You never put up a fight, no. Paradise Club. Just know me like we knew we never had to say your word, not your song. Silence, you never put up a fight, no. Paradise Club. Just know me like we knew we never had to say your word, not your song. Silence, we're spending time on the regular. We'll pass the days when you just call me on my cellular. If I'm the book, then you're the editor. Cause you know we always bringing out the best in us. It's not a rushing, man. Even though you cuss me cause I stress you, I'm not noting, man. It's just a trusting, man. Doing life together, got each other, I'm not noting. You never put up a fight, no. You just know me like we knew we never had to say your word, not your song. You did that check for me, yeah. And buy me sweetie down a halfway tree. You say paradise plum, who you are run from. I give you my love, boy. He's not a rushing man. Even though you cuss me cause I stress you, I'm not noting, man. It's just a trusting man. Doing life together, got each other. You never put up a fight, no. You just know me like we knew we never had to say your word, not a sound. Silence, I don't wanna fight. You never put up a fight, no. I don't wanna fight. You just know me like we knew we never had to say your word, not a sound. Silence, telling you the truth, got nothing left for proof. And if you leave it up to me, you know we'll make it. I've opened up to you, oh boy, what can I do? I wanna know if it's true, woo, 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 woo. You never put up a fight, no. You just know me like we knew we never had to say your word, not a sound. Silence, baby. You never put up a fight, no. You just know me like we knew we never had to say your word, not a sound. Silence, you never put up a fight, no. You just know me like we knew we never had to say your word, not a sound. Silence, baby. You never put up a fight, no. You just know me like we knew we never had to say your word, not a sound.
Tell the people.
Paitonu. Nice, nice. Naomi Cowan there with Paradise Plum. Nice waiata. I like it. And I've never heard that one, by the way, until now. And that was awesome. I like the different styles of reggae song that we're getting from the wahine as well. Like last week we had Tanya Stevens, a long time in the scene now, and one of the leading wahine, one of the leading queens in reggae music now, Tanya Stevens, and she sang Streets, her song Streets. I've heard that one before. Yeah, very, very good waiata, that one. And yeah, then you've got Coffee and all those wahine. You know, yeah, they're doing great, and we need to encourage our New Zealand wahine to you know, get out there. Okay, so I still can't remember that wahine from Tauranga, but she's just recently come into the I have listened to her music, but I don't listen to her music much. But it's good that she's joined the reggae scene, because I think there's a lot of potential there. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there. And very good use of the pure. We call the pure. Or the reggae, the original reggae feel, you know. She's pretty good with that. Yeah, we're moving on here on to another of the women of reggae music. Let's see if you can recognize this one. This is Tessan. And she is going to, well, let's just get a listen to it, eh? I'm not too sure whether this is the waiata, but it very well could be one that we've heard before. But yeah, if you can work out whether it is the one. Hey, e tātou mā. So there's a lot of strong qualities in wahine reggae music. Plus, I think with male bands, we get a little bit carried away. We think we can carry everything in the music. And it's not really true. Wahine have a place in both sides of the music. Within, you see them a lot in reo huātai, in harmony structures and backing vocals, etc. But they're great leaders as well, just like Magic and the woman. Oh, I'm going to remember her name. one of these days, and yeah, from Tauranga there, and both of them are Māori women, and we've got Magic there leading the show. I quite like her music. Let's see if I can get some of her music in. There's some great wahine musicians, but not a lot in reggae music. Yeah, we've listened to some of her waiata too. She's got a few Māori waiata too. This woman from Tauranga. I'll see if I can grab one of hers as well, eh? And we'll get a bit of a listen to her. How about that? Okay, here we go. Tessan, coming at ya. Haere ake ne tātou, haere ake tonu nei. Kahuri.
You don't know what you're doing, you do it to me. I can't save it from yourself, but I could offer you a new start.
arms. You make the water hum, and you put it blunt. You got the goods, I got the tea. I said this song just to prove I wanna have you, baby. I want every part of you. The good, the bad, the old and the new. Hear me when I say, baby, why I do. I do. To take you home, show you what my love can do. Take my breath away, if only you would say. It's only you and I, and that's the way we'll stay. I'll take you there to my secret hideaway. I'll take you there to my secret hideaway. Baby, baby, I'll take you there. Baby, 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 come with me. I'll take you there, take you
Nice instrumentals there from Tesen and Hideaway. Yeah, I was hoping you'd be able to guess that one. And last of all today, we've got for you coming up. Etana, a name that we not a new name to any of us. Etana, so many, she's been around a long time now, really made. She's even played a couple of ragamuffins here. Etana, hey, what can I say? One of the best in the world now. So let's get one of her waiata. This is her waiata reggae to maybe take us out. Well, hang on, let's see what we... Oh, no, actually, wrong. We may be cool as to get one more waiata in there. Let's see how we go. I'll quickly get on to Tana and then have whakaritenga inoi, he ritenga inoi, hai mutunga, hai kupu mutunga ki aia, ki te atua matua rungarawa, ki te rungarawa, kia ūtanu ai tātou mātou, te taha te wairua kawenei, i roto i a tahu, i roto Hawaikirangi. E tāna, and the song Reggae. Sounds good. Yeah, so, women need to be heard a lot more in the reggae scene. So come on, all you ladies out there. I know of a number of rapping women that could do some great dancehall styles out there. Yeah, so come on. And guys, all the guys out there in the bands should be encouraging them, eh? Wouldn't it be so cool? Etana, reggae.
Never seen you rock so. Now it's time to play. You move me like the wind blows as night becomes a day. I know you want to go slow where I don't know.
Aera, tāhua rā hoki tēnā nā e tāna reggae. Tino a tāhua ne, te iawe atua, te atua matua kārawa te rungarawa, whakamoe miti, whakamoe miti, whakamoe miti, i te ingoa te iehua. Āmene.